What's going on, Team TaylorMade, and welcome to the Tour Report. I am Sam Day, a tour representative for TaylorMade, and today I am joined by Alex Marine, who works on the truck with me this week at the Belfry. How you doing, buddy?
Yeah, all good, mate. We're here on a Wednesday at the Belfry, so another busy day, mate. But yeah, let's get stuck in.
Pro-Am day, quite a quiet morning for us while they're all teeing off, but we've got a few builds on. Yeah. Quick mention, obviously, Mark is out on the range at the moment.
Yeah.
Grafting away there, so we are literally in the back of the office here. It's quite chilly this morning, mate.
Yeah, typical Belfry weather, innit? Raining, dark, grey.
What do you expect in the UK?
No offence to anyone from here, but
by the way, you're in a t-shirt. You must be a bit cold there, mate. But so staff players in the field this week we have 9, and obviously we were expecting 8, but the field went a little bit deeper. We've got someone else in the field, but yeah, obviously. Big week for us, home soil. Nice to not go to the airport, mate, but it was still an early start. I had to pick you up early, didn't I?
Yeah, I had the tour taxi waiting for me at my front door, didn't I? 6 a.m, wasn't it?
Yeah, 6 a.m, pick up, a couple of hours up the road for us. We flew up, actually. It was a bank holiday Monday, wasn't it? So the roads were quite quiet. Although a few people did get caught in something, but we were fine, mate, weren't we? We had a little stop.
Yeah, quick coffee and a sausage roll on the way,
there we go, mate. So this week is Iron Week. So this tour report will be more based around the iron work we've done this week, who we've worked with, and the select few players which we'll get into. British Masters this week, I've got written down here that the golf course is wet and soft. What else have you heard from the players this week, mate?
Rough's juicy.
Yeah.
It's playing long. Obviously, no roll on the ball. Typically does get a little bit wet here, doesn't it? So the rain we've had this week's not going to help. Yeah. So yeah, it's going to be another tough test.
Great condition though. Everyone said it's great condition and it's really presented nicely. Just not running too much, mate.
Greens are rolling pure.
Yeah, they'll have to hit plenty of the irons that we've been working so hard with this week. So mate, should we start with Robert MacIntyre, his first event over here since the Middle East. He's played a lot in the US, so obviously we touched on this last week with what we do with bags when we first see them on the truck for the first time. We do the full MOT.
Yeah.
So just run me through what you've done from a building side for Bob this week.
Yeah, I mean, it's always good to see Bob, isn't it? I had a joke with him and said, look, we only ever see you on the TV these days, mate. So yeah, we got full bag spec. Obviously, we've not seen him since Middle East, beginning of the year, pre-season testing, I think, wasn't it? So got his bag on, full spec, a couple adjustments where needed. Obviously, he's been playing a lot of harder turf, but bag was in pretty good shape. Got a spec, and we're going to actually build him a fresh set, aren't we? Fresh set of grooves. I
can see him up on the side there, mate. They're just drying at the moment.
They're just drying off the glue, yeah.
So, I think that it's a point now where Bob was saying he's getting a little bit of differentiation in spin.
Yeah.
So for me, looking at that, I can only think he probably just needs some fresh grooves.
For sure. He's due a set.
Yeah, he's due a set. We'll go and dial those in later after the pram. He's actually driven here, so he would just drive them home. Yeah. Saves us shipping them, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, that would be Bob all settled, I think. I don't think we've done a great deal else with him.
No, just checked in, had a chat.
Yeah.
I mean, the irons are a big one because, as you say, he practices so much that the spin differences he was getting from iron to iron became a little bit evident in his carry numbers, didn't they?
Yeah. And he was a fan of the touch shot.
Yeah. He did. He polished off the Jaffa cakes, mate. Yeah, he did.
Fair enough. And the Reese's Pieces bars, mate.
That was Davey, his coach. Yeah. He was getting stuck in there.
Yeah, we're running low on those, mate. You'll have to do a top-up. Let's move on to the twins. I worked with Nicolai on a 2-iron this week. So I did him 2 options, actually. I did him a 770 head and a 790 head, which you kindly built for me, mate, so thanks for that.
Yep.
Honestly, mate, when I say this, I thought it was an absolute display out there. There was a key difference between the technology in the heads for what I saw. We did do 2 shaft options there. One to give him a little bit more playability. I believe it was that PXIO, I think you recommended for me.
Yeah, good driving iron shaft. That.
Yeah, so that one in the 790 had actually launched a little bit higher, had a little bit more spin. They were both the same loft and lie. Actually, I think the spin was very, very similar, actually. Maybe a little bit lower on the 790, which is obviously the design of the head. But yeah, it popped up and he was able to turn it over. He was able to launch it higher and cut it, draw it. So for me, that was a really, really playable 2-iron for him. The 770, which was obviously built in line with his 3-iron, wasn't it? That was like strong, man. That was like stingers for days. And he actually said one thing to me. He said, go and bring that back to Alex and he'll know what event to keep that keep that on the truck for, and that's
Link
the open,
style.
right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the technology in the two heads is very similar, isn't it?
Yeah.
The 790 is just a little bit more compact. So that's why we built it in line with his iron spec, iron shaft. So yeah, for sure, that's definitely one for a link style course.
The 770 head.
Yeah. And the 790, obviously, we built up in a lighter shaft, slightly bigger head, so you can work that. You can play his high shot, you can play a stinger. So that's a really versatile club there, I think.
Yeah, and I think that if I was to, he actually asked me, and the caddy asked me, like, what was my opinion, and me and the caddy were like, look, you've got to play the one that's got more shots to it.
Yeah.
I think if you play a golf course which is really long, or you've misstruck something off the tee and it does leave you that 2-iron, the ability to send it up in the air and get it to land soft on a firmer green, or even on a soft green, to get the descent angle to make it stop.
Especially around here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know whether he will go with this week. I think he could potentially play his 5 or his 7 wood that he's got. But I would firmly expect him to play this at a golf course that would demand a 2-iron off the tee.
Yeah.
With his length, he would only be hitting 2-iron to chase it and run it down there, isn't he? But yeah, lovely work on that one, mate. I think they were both. I wish you were out there with me, but you were too tired up.
Well, I haven't. That's another week. I haven't got off the truck, have I?
We've been out a couple of times. I've seen you out
Bit
there
of
a couple
fresh
of times.
air, yeah.
Because I've come back and people have been asking me to build stuff. But no, it always happens that way, doesn't it, on tour? You take a little wander on the range.
And then everyone comes at once.
And everyone
don't they?
comes at once, yeah. We were like, oh,
He was calling me going, where are you?
Yeah,
I've been off 10 minutes, mate.
Yeah, I thought you'd went somewhere else. So obviously the other twin would be Rasmus. And honestly, it's the same
work, wasn't it? Yeah.
I think Mark's worked closely with him there. I don't know, I haven't really been in on that session, so maybe you could enlighten me on that.
So Mark put an order in with me, exact same work, 2-iron. We built 770 again, in line with the irons, iron shaft, same length progression. And then we also did a 790 in a slightly lighter shaft, and then we did a graphite shaft option as well.
Yeah.
But these boys they've got so much speed, so much power. The graphite option's a little bit too inconsistent for them.
Okay.
In terms of carry, launch and spin.
Yeah.
So these boys are definitely strong enough to be playing a steel shaft in their 2-irons.
What was the iron shaft, the slightly higher launching shaft? Was it?
Yeah, so we tried a KBS Proto graphite shaft, and then we ended up in a little bit similar to Nicolai. We ended up in a lighter weight KBS option there. So exactly the same sort of deal there. And the funny thing is, it's two different reps who didn't know this. They were doing the same work at the same time, and they ended up at the same conclusion. So it's pretty.
I wonder if it's confusing for you sometimes when you see Rasmus and Nicolai on the same bench.
Same club.
Same club.
Yeah.
I guess you just look down where it says who's placed the order, and you think, right, just give it to Sam and he'll worry about it, or give it to Mark and he'll worry about it. I always end up saying,
is this Nico? Is this Raz? Is this Raz? Is this Nico? Don't I? And you're like, come on, mate.
Yeah. It is tough. It is tough, mate. I think I'm just about getting there with the guys. But so let's do a quick what's in the bag in terms of the irons. So Bob Mac is in P7MC.
Yeah. We have tested him in MB, haven't we?
We have.
And he loved them.
Yeah, and he was really happy that we had lefty blades this year.
Yeah. I mean, he said he's got full trust in the MCs right now, hasn't he? But the MBs are probably more for a test on the off-season. But initial hits, he said he could easily game them.
Yeah, and he's got a UDI in there, mate, that is really strong, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like Freewood Loft, 15.
And he sends that thing, and he can launch it still, right?
Yeah, really actually at the Scottish Open, I believe, last year, and it's not left the bag. I mean, we're not getting that one out, I don't think.
Nicolai, P7TWs, he's obviously got a 773 iron, and I would probably say he's got to play the 792 iron. But he's all the way down from 4 to wedge straight through in these P7TWs, right?
Yeah, proper players club them, aren't they?
They're beautiful, aren't they? What an iron they are. And then Rasmus is actually in blades as well, but he's in the P7MBs, right?
Yeah.
Perfect. I think that covers those guys. Let's go to the low maintenance guy of the week.
Yeah.
Roman Lagasse.
Roman, yeah.
Not surprised, is it?
No, so he's very low maintenance, isn't he?
Yeah.
We checked in with his caddy, and his equipment's all good, but he did walk on with a 60-degree wedge snapped in two, didn't he?
Well, he hit a tree, didn't he?
Well, I was thinking this isn't like Roman. He doesn't have many head-offs, but apparently it hit a tree. So we're told.
Well, he said he's not strong enough to snap it. That's what he told me.
Yeah,
that's what he
was
told
in
me.
the gym last night.
So new wedge. He has obviously played his grind on his wedge, and you've done
Very
that.
unique grind, yeah.
one thing that he did say, I think it was in the bit where you just popped off and Mark was actually on here, he just wanted something changing on the camber. And I can only think that's probably for the wet conditions, would you say?
Yeah, I mean, Roman, so he plays a high toe 58-10 and we grind it. We keep the 4-way camber, but we probably take that bounce down to about 6. And that's just because he loves opening the face and he wants that leading edge to sit square when he does that. But this week he was actually after a little bit more bounce shaved off the back edge, just so he could sit that club even flusher. I mean, me and you, we're a big believer in more bounce the better, aren't we?
Yeah.
So over time, I've kind of softened his grind off, so it has a little bit more bounce.
So without him knowing,
yeah.
So every wedge he gets is gradually
a little bit more, because I just think it's your friend. Bounce is your friend, isn't it? And that's an important thing for the guys at home to understand.
It's just versatility, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's just versatile. I mean, we all get those shots where it's in a juicy lie and you think, how's this thing going to come out? And if you've got something at a low bounce, you have to really be on your game to get that to perform. I think if you have the bounce, you can get away with a lot more. Wide sole and a good amount of bounce, and you're going to have something that performs in all conditions, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, so Pep Angels, I think he'll be the last player we talk about, I think.
Yeah.
And then we'll move on to your build of the week, which I'm really excited about this week. So one thing that we were talking to Pep about is he's played his KBS C tapers for a while now. He actually spent a bit of time with the Nippon rep and yourself talking about some iron shafts. Where did you get with him, mate?
Yeah, so Pep's probably, other than like Roman, probably our lowest maintenance player, really, isn't he? He kind of turns up late on a Tuesday, so we don't see too much of him. Heaps and heaps of talent in there, isn't there? But
Spanish hands again, isn't it?
Yeah, Spanish hands. He's been in the KBS C taper for a long time, and he's pretty happy. But yeah, as I say, the Nippon rep was on here, and we all sat down and had a chat, and the Nippon rep reckons he can help him lower his scores. And he was open to that, and I said, look, we can build a 7, let's build a 9, 7 and a 5 next week at Belgium, and we'll test them and see how you go.
Well, if the Nippon guy can promise Pep Angels better scores, what would he do for my game? I think I might get him on here and say, what shaft should I play?
So we'll see. I mean, it's these guys, some guys are shut off to testing these sorts of things, aren't they? And some guys are very open. So we'll see how that goes, but
with what you're saying there about guys being shut off, or girls are being shut off mid-season, testing irons, is that because it's such a big change? I think it is.
Yeah, 100%.
And it's more of an off-season thing, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. That's why I was quite surprised he was open to test straight away. He wanted them this week, actually.
Yeah.
But, you know, when you change shafts, you end up changing swing weight, you change the complete feel, the balance point. You change a lot of variables all in one go.
Yeah, and I think that's one thing that when you're off season and you're not competing, it's something you can explore. I get asked this a lot, how often do people change their irons? And I would probably say it's the same spec and it could be 4 or 5 seasons, but it's just updating the heads.
Yeah.
But unless there is something that they feel they can get out of their game, like Pep being a good example of that, enjoying the feel of the Modus 120. So I think that, you know, if it does feel great and he feels like he can better his game, then I think that's something you could explore moving into the back end of the season.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's. I'm interested to see how we go with that.
Yeah.
It is a completely different feel. 975 next week, and we'll bring that in the next tour report, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. We'll update on that and see how that plays out. But we'll get them built up for him.
Perfect, mate. So this is the part that I like. It's Alex's build of the week. Big contenders this week, mate, or is there a standout one?
Well, I would have said Roman's wedge because it's so unique in the grind and the sole design we've got on there. But seeing as it's Iron Week, I think we'll have to go with Bobby's irons.
Yeah.
Again, backup set. We've tidied the specs up a little bit, haven't we? And they're up there cooking now, so they'll be ready for him. He's gonna take them home, actually, isn't he?
Yeah.
And they're gonna be a direct replacement for his set now. His grooves are starting to wear down a little, so the new set he'll work in his off week. And it's as simple as that, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
Club for club, same swing weight, same loft, same lie, grip, you name it. So, I think that's got to be up there with build of the week because Bob is super, super sensitive to weight. I know in the past we've tested shafts and stuff like that with him, and if he's a couple of swing weights or a gram or whatever off, he can feel it, can't he? We get it in the neck, don't we?
Well, I'll give it you in the neck if you missed it by 2 swing weights. You're better than that, you know that. So yeah, I mean, like Alex said there, I think that's worthy winner of Build of the Week. But you know for a fine fact when he comes on, you give him these irons, he's going to say, "Are they perfect?" Yeah. So you better be ready for that.
Yeah, he'll be wanting to have a look himself, won't he?
I normally just nod at him and he just nods back.
I'll just chuck him a Jaffa cake, mate.
Take that and see it later. So one thing that I would like to just touch on at the end of this before we just tell the listeners what's up next for us is the amount of 3-woods we've done this week for the uncontracted players that we've seen this week.
Yeah, it's been a lot.
You've built loads, mate. You've actually said, geez, another 3-wood.
Well, I've opened our 3-wood drawer there and it's half empty.
You better get filling it then.
Yeah, so we've gone through a lot of 3-woods this week. Obviously, these guys are tied into usually a driver contract, aren't they? And it shows how good our woods are, that they want to come here and ours is their first choice.
I think that when you spec club for club, I did 2 fitting sessions last night at like 5:30, 6 o'clock. And they were just really, really easy to work with. You make subtle changes and it makes a world of difference.
Yeah.
Very well built. Well done, mate.
Thank you.
But I think it's just been very easy for them just to stand there on the range and just trust the golf club immediately. Waiting for on-course feedback today after the Pro-Am. And the truck will wrap up about, 3 o'clock today, mate?
3 o'clock, yeah. 3 o'clock, yeah. I think a note on those 3-woods is that because they're so tight on spin, these guys can trust the yardage every time, can't they?
100%.
Because they're not like us that are looking for 280 from a 3-wood.
I'm looking for 300.
they're dialing in exact yardages so they know their carries. So if there's a bunker or rough out there, they know it's not reaching that.
Yeah.
Whereas we're just trying to pound it as hard as we can, aren't we?
Of course, and I think that's the thing. If you've got a really hot 3-wood, then why do you need driver?
Yeah.
And then before you know it, the gap between 3-wood or if a guy's playing a 3-iron, that becomes an issue there. So like you say there, mate, that's a very good point you made in terms of the carry number, but also the run-out number as well.
Yeah.
It has to make sense in a golf bag. 3-woods for me have been extremely popular this week. Everyone seems to be set with driver, but 3-woods have been a standout for me this week from a fitting standpoint. So with that in mind, truck 3 p.m. today, wraps it up. Where are we going next, buddy?
Next week, it's just me and you at Soudal Open in Belgium, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I'm sure that'll be another busy week. I need the 3rd truck event of the year.
Yeah.
And then it's a week off after that. And
away we go.
Away we go, yeah. So it's well in the swing of things now, aren't we?
I know you really want to say it, so say it. We go again.
Yeah, we go again, yeah.
I know you wanted to say that. I could just see it on your lips.
I was just about to say it. I was holding back there.
Thanks for listening to the TaylorMade Tour Report. Stay tuned for more reports to come throughout the season. If you want to see more of what we do on the road, you can find us on Instagram at TaylorMade_tour.